Hello viewers, and welcome again to Discovering Truth. And I am Pastor FORBES from the Gateway Abiding Word Ministries here in the Gambia. We are now in part 2 of what I believe will be a 3 or 4 part series of our discussion entitled, There is More to Your Life Than You Have. There is more to your life than you have. I remember making a statement from a preacher who I so much loved, respected, met him and his wife in person in the Bahamas, not knowing that that same year they were going to transition into eternity. Dr. Miles Monroe of the Diplomat Center in Nassau, Bahamas said, "All you know is what you have learned. But what you have learned is not all there is to know." So, in terms of acquisitions and collections, all you have is what you have been able to gather, collect, get financially, academically, etc., etc., and maybe doing very well in life. But all that is not all there is to have. There is always more. And we are looking at the more from a point of spirituality, morals, ethics, best practice, something that you are not going to feel ashamed for as you exit the earth, transition from time into eternity, hopefully eternity with God through the Lord Jesus Christ, and leaving a legacy that means a lot for your family and for humanity. In other words, you leave the world better than how you found it. So we have used the third book of the New Testament, the Gospel of Luke, written by the physician, Dr. Luke, and the 15th chapter from verse 11 all the way to verse 32, some 12, 13 verses. And these verses tell a story about a father who had 2 sons, and the younger of the 2 walked to the father one day and said, "Give me my inheritance. Basically, I declare you dead now." Because as you know, whatever we leave as a last will and testament for our families and whoever we leave as the beneficiaries, that is only made known public after the testator has passed on, has died. But this boy wanted it while he was alive. He wanted his portion, his full portion, the inheritance. So the father must have reluctantly given him, maybe tried to talk him out of it, but I'm sure you know anybody who makes that kind of decision is bent on action, even though, as we can see in the scripture, and as we all know in life, it's always misguided. Not because the inheritance is wrong, not because the person does not qualify for it. As a matter of fact, if it's where even in the royalties and the monarchical systems, by birth, you already have it. While you are conceived and gestating, you already are a prince or a princess in the making, and therefore lifestyle changes. But it's whether you are mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, relationally ready for it. Whether you can handle this thing or whether it will crush you. In this young man's experience, it crushed him. He didn't know what to do. We saw that he wasted his money and the resources and the goods his father gave him on what the Bible calls riotous living, wasteful living, heartless, mindless, clueless, just buying anything, impulsive, impetuous, just buying anything. And of course, I told you that in the book of Proverbs in the Bible, there is a verse that says, "A rich man has many friends." People don't like to go around poor people or people who they feel can't elevate their lives. When you are rich, when you come into wealth, when you come into notoriety, when people celebrate you in every field, everybody comes around you. In our country, of course, the next thing you become a father of this, mother of that, I compete, and then the football club is named after you and all that. That's not just for anything. You pay for that. You pay for that. You know, when children are born in our country, the Gambia, in Wolof when the child is being named, if they name the child after you, that is what you pay money. It's called deremitur, the dalasi of the name, the money of the name. You got to pay for that child to carry your name. I would have thought it's the other way around, that your name is so great that the child has to pay. But it is what it is. But getting to where we are, this young man took off, and in a short time, he was worse than when he started. Because when he started, he had a home, he had a roof over his head, he had a brother, he had his father, he had hired servants in the house. But he was not satisfied. And we're going to look at a couple of indicators that I think will help us to come to the place where, yes, we do not have all that we have, all that we need, but we know what to do to get them, to position ourselves for them without destroying everything we have. So we read from Luke's Gospel chapter 15 from verse 11 to 32, and somewhere in verse 15 it says he then went and joined himself to a citizen of that country who sent him into the fields to feed the swine. He had become broke, penury had set in. The consequences of his actions had caught up with him, and he would have gladly filled his stomach with the pods that the swine ate, but even that nobody gave him. Then he came to himself. He swallowed the pride. He said it doesn't matter anymore. Anything that they meet upon me is due me because of what I did. So he said he will get up and go home, because he realized then that, look, I'm still a son of my father. My older brother is there. My room is there. The food is there. The hired servants are there. So even the hired servants are enjoying more than me. He said, I will arise. I will go to my father. I'll say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in your sight. Heaven. That means he offended God. Why? Because he broke the lines of spiritual authority. He trivialized something that was so great for his life, which are principles of life and life's lessons we must learn not to get into. But as he was on his way home, his father saw him afar off, and father ran to him, hugged him, and the father did not even allow him to give all his speech of repentance, confession, and forgiveness. Father said, quickly, who is the nearest servant here? Go bring the best robe, get a ring, get sandals, and then kill a fatted calf. Because this boy has come home. This is what we were praying for. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what happened? There was a merriment party going on, and the older brother was coming from the field. And as he was getting near, the music and the merriment, if it's our time, you'll say the cars, the trucks, the security companies, the drones, social media, photo shoot places and all that, live band. And he said, what's the meaning of all this? Then the servant said, your brother has come home and your father has done 1, 2, 3, 4. Robe, ring, sandals, fatted calf. And the brother got upset and said he was not going back into that house. And the father came and met him and said, come, your brother has come back. He was dead, he's alive. Come. And this older brother made a statement. He said, all these many years I've stayed here serving you faithfully. I've never transgressed your commandment at any time. Yet you never gave me a young goat that I might make merry with my friends. But this your son has devoured, spoiled, wasted your goods with harlots, strange women, and people who you don't want to be around you, who are just suckers. And yet you killed the fatted calf for him? And the father looked at him and said, son, and this is where our discussion title comes from. The father told him, all that I have is yours. You have always been here with me. You could have taken a goat, a kid, 3 goats, 5 goats. They are here for you. I am living for you and your brother. I've set things aside for you. All that I have is yours. And from this understanding, we can see that until this older brother was told this, quite apart from the fact that, as I told you, in the culture of that time, as long as he's the firstborn, he's an heir apparent, he has a double portion of the blessing, everything literally comes to him. He's just in waiting. And yet he didn't enjoy it because he didn't want to come into that understanding. And sometimes it's like that. People are struggling for what is theirs, trying to fight for what is already given. Sometimes people scramble over something because of a scarcity mindset. But there is more than enough. There are 10 people, there are 60 of the items, and you see them scrambling, forgetting that if they go orderly, everybody can have 6 and they'll be satisfied. Sometimes the reason why we don't get the more that is there for us is because of our attitude. And I want to list about 11 things I have written here that I want to call the building blocks or the preparation mechanisms or the positioning of our lives so that the extra more can come to us. And let me say, if we have worked hard, gone for apprenticeship, training, mentorship, college, polytechnic, all kinds of trainings that we have done, it's good. Worked hard, built your house, it's good. Worked to the bone, built your company, it's good. But there's always more. What are the 11 things, if we consider, even if just one, it will help position us towards attracting the more? Because somebody once said, ladies and gentlemen, that preparation plus opportunity makes for success. Opportunity comes and I am not ready. How would I benefit from it? I will not succeed. I prepare and work so hard, but there is no opportunity. I will also not succeed. But if I'm prepared and fine-tuning and upgrading and updating and I'm just ready, an opportunity comes. When the language we use is that when opportunity kisses preparation, success is born. And that's why sometimes you cannot be, in fact, more often than not, you should not be jealous of anybody. You hear this phrase in English, he crossed the bridge at the right time. There was preparation. She crossed the bridge at the right time. There are people who have become great in their offices because when they were interns, everybody closed at 4 o'clock. They just stayed reading. And anything that needed to be done, if the managers, MDs or partners came, anybody around, that was the person they found. And after some time, those kinds of people got to see more, read more, know more, understand more, appreciated more, and be appreciated. And when it was time for promotion, it was a no-brainer. They got it. So what are these 11 things? The first one I want to start with as a building block or the preparation mechanism or the positioning, how we position our lives to make sure that we can have more than we have. Not from an inordinate place, not just from greed to have, but when you understand that, look, it can be better. Because there are people who have great dreams to help, but they are not able to help because the resource is not there, the exposure is not there, the wherewithal is not there, the mind expansion is not there, the business acumen is not there, the network is not there. So what are some of the building blocks? What are some of the preparation mechanisms, steps that we can take? What are the positionings we can have? Number 1, patience and understanding timing. Brethren, my dear friends, nobody was born talking, jumping, dancing, laughing, clapping, writing, drinking. We were taught what the scriptures calls line upon line, precept upon precept, a little here, a little there. We were taught, we were molded, we were brought up, we were groomed, we were trained. So to get into that extra more, we must be patient. And we must understand timing, that you cannot get everything every day. My dear folks, in the second book of the Bible called Exodus, when they were leaving Egypt, one of the things God told them in one chapter, I can't remember now, he said, take note, I will not drive out these enemy nations all at a go, all at once before you. Because if I do that, you are not that many to conquer all their lands at the same time. The lands will be left bare, the jackals will come, thorns and bristles will come. It will be a worse state than it was before. So God uses the phrase, little by little. He said, little by little will I drive the enemy. Be patient. You will get there. If you've ever watched a marathon is 26 laps around this stadium that is about 440 meters or yards. So you go around it 26 times. You cannot approach that race the same way you approach a 100-meter Usain Bolt dash. Because the 100-meter is done in, 9.58 seconds. If you multiply that by 4, 36, 35 seconds. The marathon is 26 times round. So you have to position yourself, prepare yourself. You have to have patience and understand timing, that you don't run fast when you start, because you have 25 other laps. And you see everybody who wins a marathon, somewhere in that last lap when the bell rings, you're surprised at the energy they have to run, sometimes for the entire 400 meters or for the 200 meters or 200 yards. And they are pushing energy. Why? Because it was already banked. We have to be patient. If you want to know and receive and get the extras, you must be patient. Because with patience, you learn a lot of things, you see a lot of things, you hear a lot of things, you get to know a lot of things. With an impetuous, impulsive, quick now, quick now, jumpy attitude, you miss a lot of things. And the sad thing about that attitude is that when you crash, you got to come back and go again through the process that you should have gone in the first instance. Secondly, what is another building block? Preparation mechanism, positioning. We must learn to honor those who have gone ahead of us. We must learn honor. We must learn honor. Look, it's easy to condemn. Everybody can condemn. Everybody can criticize. Everybody has a word when something goes wrong. Everybody becomes an expert. Everybody pontificates. Everybody is able to chime in and say something. But not many people honor. And in some scenarios, people are only honored after they are dead. Then everybody wants to give a speech, all kinds of flowers, wreaths. Somebody wants to pay for the coffin. Somebody wants to do this. Somebody wants to do that. And I saw a video clip on social media where somebody died of hunger. Yet the day of his funeral, they had cooked a lot of food for people to come and eat. The man himself died of hunger. If you could cook that much, why not cook it to save his life in the first instance? So we must learn a sense of honor, honoring people, respecting people, especially those who have gone ahead of us. Not criticize them that we can do better than them, because as long as you were not there when they were doing it, we have no clue what it meant for them. So preparation is learning to honor, especially those who have gone ahead. Gratitude. How can we feel with gratitude? It's one of the first things we learn in life and ethics and etiquette. Thank you. Appreciation. Honor. You must learn to be grateful. We must practice gratitude. Say thank you and mean thank you. Not just political thank yous, situationally ethical thank yous, but real meaning thankful. Even when it's an opponent that has the victory over you. I love what I see in tennis more often than not, when the person has hit either they hit the ball with the racket and then the opponent couldn't take it, then they just fall backwards, throw their racket. put their hands up, but in about 4 or 5 seconds, they get up and they walk or they run towards the center where the net is, shake hands, hug, and then they go shake hands of the umpire as a referee before they go. Because somebody has the victory, won over you, beat you, does not mean you must be angry. In fact, in sports, that's what we call game spirit. You must have a pleasant attitude. So gratitude is important. Ladies and gentlemen, if I want to come into the more than I have, discipline, setting boundaries, setting times, knowing what to do, what not to do, when to stop, when to start, how far to go, if to go at all, and when to stop if you go, all that discipline. In fact, as you can look at the word, you can easily see the word disciple. So a disciple is a disciplined follower. We must have discipline. We must have cut-out times. We must have boundaries and structures and systems. If we do not have that, we can't go well. There must be intentionality in us. Ladies and gentlemen, except somebody really loves you uniquely, or your parents or somebody did something for you, if you have no training, whether it's academic, technical training, skills training, language training, if you have none of that, and you don't want to take it, you will not come into much. All you'll get is the extras, the leftovers of people. But if you decide that in the next 4 years, I'm going to do this degree, I'm going to do this course at the Polytechnic, I'm going to University of Science and Technology and Engineering, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. From the place where you are, you gather knowledge for 2 semesters or 3 terms, you add value. By the time you are finishing, you have a degree, you can apply and get a job. Now you are able to exchange your skills for pre-agreed remuneration money. And of course, you can see it's cause and effect. So if I work harder, I will get more. If I work smarter, I will get more. If I improve myself, enhance myself, take a 2nd degree, a 3rd degree, do something, it's cause and effect. So we definitely have to be disciplined. We have to have high discipline in what we do. There is a verse in the Bible that says, woe unto them who eat in the morning what they should eat at night. That's indiscipline. Or as you heard me say in the first episode when I introduced this series, I said, it has been said, never sacrifice the long term and the permanent on the altar of the immediate and the now. Sadly, a lot of people do that, especially when it comes to morals, word of honor, word of bond, for a fleeting, 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 7 minute activity. Sometimes a lot has been mortgaged in the future by that act. So we definitely have to have a sense of discipline. The ability to say no, N-O, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it, I would rather not be a part of this. Please excuse me this time. No. Disagreeing because you have something ahead of you, which when you get it, even this thing will come and be added onto it. So let me go over the first 4, then I'll stop here. Patience and understanding of timing, learning to honor those who have gone ahead of us, a sense of gratitude and meaning the gratitude. And number 4 is discipline. Discipline and diligence work together. So there's a verse in the Bible that says, have you seen somebody who is diligent or disciplined in their work? They will go to the top and stand before great people and never people of obscurity. And that's true. So there is more to life than what you have. It depends on whether you and I want to pay the price, be disciplined, be grateful, learn to honor people, be patient, understanding timing, and position ourselves for the great things. And I think we'll do that. So I'm going to stop here in this part 2, and I believe we'll do part 3 and we'll end at part 4. But as I always say, until I come your way next week, this is Pastor Forbes. By the special grace of God, I'm saying thank you all. God keep us. And I hope your appetite and desire for more is rising. But you have to start with patience, understanding God has timings, learning to honor those who have gone ahead of you, having a deep sense of gratitude, to people and being disciplined in all you do. God bless us all. Bye-bye.